What is going on, everybody? We are here live at Culture Shock Barbershop for our 1 year anniversary episode. You heard that right. We have been doing this for fucking 1 year going now. This is the other man in the mask here, Mike Goodwin, the man, the myth, the legend of Caged Aggression. And we got former WEC fighter, current fireman Zachary Micklewright right here. And we're here to bring you a wrap-up show of Caged Aggression, Domination, and UFC 280. It's going to be a great episode right here, and we can't wait to get started. But let's get on to this, fellas. We are here for 1 year now. How is it feeling? I can't believe it. That makes you think of how fast time really goes, don't it?
Yeah, and I mean, it's almost like we had a show every month. We're 12 in, so we're kind of timed it out a little perfect. I know we wanted to be in here a little bit more, but it is what it is. We get in here when we can, and when we do, we give good information, and we get a good response from everybody, who watches. So, I'm thankful for that. I'm thankful we're still able to do this. Thankful for all the help we get from Mindprint and Paul Martinez. But this thing's going to make me sweat. My nose is already sweating.
Yeah.
So this sucks. We're going to have to, you know what, just say hi, Mike.
Yeah, Mike, give him a
count
minute.
Mike.
So, fuck that. Okay, so last year we had a pumpkin for Halloween with some beers in it. We didn't have time to get that done. So, guess what? We have Halloween masks, but we can't breathe in that shit, and we can't have drinks. So, welcome, everybody. We are here for our 1 year anniversary show. A little wrap-up from Caged Aggression 2-night event, final event of the year. That was a crazy weekend. We're going to chat a little bit about UFC 280. Kind of a little bit of a bust, kinda. We'll get there.
Yeah,
A tad.
I'd say.
And, of course, we have to touch base on, despite what Bruce Allen says, truly the last 3-night event that we will ever do.
I mean,
March.
I'm kind of, as much as I didn't like to see it, I've already told you from the beginning, I'm kind of actually happy to see it. The 2 nights are where it's at, but I'm trying to get back to the old school 1-night events where they're just fucking so action-packed. But
Hell yeah,
if we can just get back,
fights in one night that are all fucking psychotic matchups.
if we can get back to 2 nights, 3 nights, it might be, a little, it's a lot. I know it's a lot for you, you know what I mean? But the last 3-night event was fucking amazing. Thursday, Friday blew it off.
Man.
And if we want to talk about it, right now, I'd say Friday night of the 2-night event that just happened 2 weeks ago was fucking, you talk about setting the bar. That thing set the bar, man. It really did. I thought, like I've said, people want to be on Saturday night because they think Saturday night is the big night. But Friday night's starting to blow Saturday night out the water, in my opinion. Saturday night, everybody had a great fight. There was great fights, but if you take Friday compared to Saturday, I think Friday won. I think that's fair to say.
I mean, I think that's collectively that seems to be the trend. But when we first started doing multi-night events, it was always Friday was the amateur card, Saturday was the pro card. I don't know if you guys remember that, but like it was always, and to me, after we did so many of those, I kind of thought like if I was just the general fan and I saw that, naturally I would say, well, I'm going to wait for the pro card. But as you guys know, if they're matched up correctly, there are amateur fights that you would have no idea whether or not they're amateur or pro. Oh, yeah. I mean, so it really comes down to the talent and the matchmaking. But then we decided, you know what? What if we try to do pro amateur fights both nights? And that was where it's at, man. Because then you really have to go, damn, which night am I going to go to? But it seems to be like you said, everybody, can I get on the Saturday show? I'd be asking to get on the Friday show, man, because it's almost like we've got to prove something for Saturday's night. Let's kick the night off. But yeah, both nights, of course, were incredible. Friday had a different vibe too, with the the Austin Hubbard tribute video, the 25-minute UFC caliber championship fight at the end to cap it off was
awesome, amazing.
I mean, yeah, it was a perfect setup for Saturday, and we'll get into some of the highs and lows of that weekend. But the whole 3-nighter is really the motivation behind a 3-night event. It's not money. I mean, if I'm being brutally honest publicly, we'll actually make about the same. So we're really doing a whole third night, not for profit. There's so much more work to do a third night. what the motivation behind it is when I put out an event announcement and 200 names come at me, you know, and I got room for 50. I've said it before. I hate telling people no or I don't have a spot. You add a third night, you add another chunk of opportunities. So why not, man? One more.
If you take a night away from March,
Yeah.
and we can expect another show in October, can we expect that 5th night of the year to be somewhere in the middle?
So like a one night?
Yeah, like in the summer or in like December, January?
Yeah, I get asked that a lot. Like, why don't you do more shows? Why didn't you do more shows? Because, you know, the consensus is we only did 2 shows. Well, the reality is we did 5. We did 5 nights of fights. That's 5 shows. We just packaged them in two events. I don't know about one night, man. Maybe if we went back and did those smaller challenger
one night
shows.
challengers. I was about to say,
Yeah.
dude, those things were fucking amazing. I love fighting on the challenger card. You got everybody in there on
It's
top
like a
of
little
you.
more
You can
intimate, you know? It's a
hear-
little smaller.
You can hear
a little-
everybody. You can hear
Comfy
everybody.
chairs.
The thing was amazing.
Yeah, carpeted floor, comfy chairs. You know, we take away a lot of the production value for the Challenger show. It was designed for amateurs to fight to get in the bigger show across the street. Those were cool, man. You know, I wouldn't count one of those out, but
Good.
but the
They were
other
awesome. We
part
just
of
leave
it
it
too.
at
Yeah, the other part of it too, like, because there is a business side to this thing, is that it's gotten to the point, the show's gotten so big that it almost takes a second night to pay for the show.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's that ugly business side to the thing where I don't know if we'd ever do a one night event again, but for now, the trilogy. You know,
Hey.
our third and final 3-nighter. I have heard the whispers, saw the comments. It's not going to be the last one. I promise you on my 3 kids, those 3-nighters take years off my life. One more 3-nighter, but let's do it as big as we can.
Yeah.
You know, I love it. I love it. I mean, you know, going into March for one last 3-nighter, I mean, that's going to get people sparked up. That's going to get people sparked up. Like 3 nights of action-packed fights, especially if you were there this past
last couple.
This last 2 weeks ago for the last one. You had another night to that. I mean, shit. It's going to blow it off the
Hey,
fucking roof.
add to that, the Farmer's Almanac is saying we're about to have a shitty-ass winter. So people are going to be ready in March to get out, bro.
I hate that.
We all hate winter, but yeah.
I hate that.
So what do you think? Let's talk a little bit about this last weekend.
Yeah, let's do it.
Man, highs, lows. It was just, you know, when we do a recap show like this, everything's still kind of fresh. You know, the emotions and like just the whole weekend in itself.
The bruises are still there on all the fighters.
Oh, yeah.
I guarantee
Yeah,
you. The
yeah.
black eyes are still there. The hurt knees.
It's only
all the
been-
bruises on their shins. The
It's only
stomp
been
feet,
2
it's like-
weeks. I mean,
Yeah.
the swelling's still there a little bit, you
For
know what
sure.
I'm saying? And if it's not still there, you got the bruising from the swelling that's there, you know what I mean? So,
What about you guys being, you know, longtime fighters? What about the emotion or the pride after a win or a loss? How does that, you know, a couple weeks after?
Man, I don't know. I can't really remember, you know, but I do remember like coming home and getting all the congratulations, you know, going out afterwards and getting that notoriety and that congratulations, all that stuff is super cool.
Yeah.
It's like a high in itself. So that always feels good. The hangover doesn't come for a couple weeks, but the bruises, I mean, I've woke up the next morning on a Sunday morning and not been able to walk and shit like that. So, I mean, there's a lot of, it's a mixed bag, I'd say.
yeah, I always gave myself a week of sorrow or a week of, you know, living it up, rock star, you know, lifestyle. Because with a win is a win and a loss is a loss. But I always gave myself the week window. I did the week, and then
The week,
after that, it's time to erase it from your memory. Either you won or lost, either or, and it's time to get back to work. Unless, like you say, you got injuries or bruises and stuff, because those things do take a lot of time to heal. So really, if anything other than that, it was just 1 week. You're gonna enjoy it, take in the roses, or you know what I'm saying, drink your beers in sorrow, and that was it. So 1 week and that's it. So
Yeah.
by week 2, if you're still riding that high or riding that low, it's time to get over it.
Josh Stewart said, I can bet they're all fat now, and I can attest to that. Because this is one thing I was going to bring up even before I said that is my last fight, you know, I cut to 155 for my last fight, and that was pretty hard for me. I mean, it was an easy cut for what it was, but overall, it's pretty hard to cut to 155 for my big ass. So the following week, you know, I partied hard, got Mexican food like 3 times in 1 week, and like just sodium loaded and fucked myself up. I had drill weekend the following weekend, and my feet swelled up. Like I had like edema in my feet from just like loading myself full of sodium after eating so healthy for so long. I ate like a fat turd the following week, and my feet swelled up like weird. I went to the hospital for it, and they were like, "Oh, did you change your diet in the last week?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah, oh yeah, I've changed my diet." And they're like, "Don't worry about it."
There's a funny story. Zach told me that story back a long time ago when that happened, and I laughed my fucking ass off at it for the longest. And I shit you not, probably a couple years ago, the exact same thing happened to me. My foot wouldn't fit in my work boot. And so I fucking finally got in there and I tied it. And the thing was so tight on my leg that I couldn't walk in work anymore. I was just like, dude, I got to sit here for a minute. And then just loosen up and walked around with untied work boots.
Mistakes were made. Mistakes were made.
Inside Fighter Info. You know, I stopped by Paul. Shout out to Mind Print Productions. Always got to give them love. They set all this up for us. Obviously, they kill it at the events. I stopped by his house like Wednesday or Thursday right after the show. And he just kind of got this little bit of a sad look on his face. And he's like, do you get like post-fight week depression? He's like, I was talking to my girl about this. He's like,
my phone?
Fight week is all this, and this, and then it's over. You know, it truly is a love-hate, that behind the scenes where you're like, you know, fight week is, we call it hell week. It's crazy. It's nonstop, very little sleep. And then once we get done, you're like, well, now what? You know what I mean? It's kind of weird for a little bit.
What am I looking forward to?
Yeah,
you know
yeah.
What I mean?
I usually try to disconnect for a little bit after an event. Just get my head clear. You know, catch up on some family time for sure. This one I have been doing that, but actually we're right back into March, man, because I really want it. If it's our last 3-nighter, you know, been doing this 11 years now. I really want to. It's time to freshen things up. It's time to upgrade and add more presentation and production. Like I said in the post, you know, our show has kind of been the same layout for a while now, and I want to, like I've always said, I always want to make the next show better than the last one somehow, and I think it's just time. You know, there was a point where I didn't know, you know, 6, 7 years into this, like, is this really, you know, how long does this thing last? What are we going to do with it? You know, then COVID hit and stuff. But the way that these fighters and these fans respond to our events, man, I'm knock on wood. Like I always say, we're obviously doing something right, that we have so much interest, and they deserve more, man. I always want more. You know, let's give the fans a fresh new look. Let's give the fighters even more than we do now. And so March, I'm not taking any time off for this one.
Awesome. That's great.
That's scary.
Yeah. I will say being there both nights, you know what I'm saying, right there filming for the show and doing things, but I'd say both nights, Friday night was jam-packed and Saturday night was jam-packed. I think it's not saying that any show has been, you know, up or down compared to the other, but I'd say both nights were equally as almost sold out as they could be. So I think you add a third night to that in March. It's been a while since I've seen like both shows to the wall, jam packed, like they both were tonight, those 2 weeks ago. So a third one, there's gonna be more people there as well.
Mike, with that being said, what is capacity at that place?
Realistically, so we did a free show once, and you guys remember that?
Yeah.
So just a quick story. We were at Sam's Club or something. The kids like to go on Saturdays because there's like 15 sample stations set up, right? Can I get some pizza? Or like, so they had this like crab dip, and we all like seafood at the house, but this crab dip had some funky shit in it. And the lady was super nice. So I was like, I'll try it.
Like
right?
funky good?
Funky good, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But didn't look good. Looked funky. Until I tried it, I was like, ooh, that's funky good. We ended up buying a whole big ass thing of it. And right there in Sam's, I was like, that's it, man. I went to a hockey game for the first time when Dylan was like 2. He wanted to leave in the third period. I'm like, what the fuck, man? This is the best. But anyways, when we went, I became hooked. We weren't hockey fans. I never really watched hockey. I went to a live game, and I was sold. I was hooked. And now we go, you know, I mean, he plays
how about the Storm going 2-0?
What's up, bro? This is their year. No, so in Sam's Club, I'm like, that's it, man. Like, I want to give a free sample of what we do and how we do it. It's not just throw a cage up and and guys are beating the shit out of each other. And,
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like
they used to do at the Moline Community Club or whatever.
well, and I think that maybe let's say 10 years ago, you know
fought there.
somebody in your family was in a fight and you went to support them because you'll support them anywhere. And maybe you went there and maybe you were like, oh, I'm never going to one of these again. I hope he chooses a different hobby. That's what I wanted to show. Like, here's a free taste of how we do it at our events.
Yeah. To prove that it's not just your run of the mill.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, obviously we spent a ton of money to do it, but I was like, my philosophy or my mindset was, if we give a free taste, there's got to be some people that are like, holy shit, I didn't know it was like this. I'm sold. I'm stuck, like hockey. So we do a free event, and there was no tables, there was no cage side. It was literally all just chairs or standing, and there was like 4,300 people, like lines down the blocks,
Was that
wrapped
on-
around the building.
Was that in the Great Hall? The one that we have it in now?
Yeah, we've got pictures, man, where it was.
I can't remember. That was a
to
long time
the
ago.
wall,
That was a
people
fucking while
standing,
ago.
and it
How
was
long
wild.
ago was that? 10?
Oh gosh, I'd have to
More
look
than
back
5
like
years ago.
6, 7 years ago.
Yeah.
Looking back, do I think it worked? Yeah, I mean, I really do. But so to answer that, now we've got the configuration with tables, making sure there's enough space in between them for everybody to sit comfortably. Then you've got your cage side, and then you've got your barriers, and then you've got your general admission. So realistically, about 2,600 now.
Okay.
If we just went straight chairs and standing, we could probably push for about 4,500. But obviously, you have different levels of tickets and seating, and how close you are to the cage.
I mean, that helps with just the production of the show.
Yeah.
Even, just the feel of it.
yeah. Oh yeah,
The
totally.
The exclusivity of like
Yeah.
the ringside and the all access like we gave to Frankie.
Yeah.
And shit like that. Like those different types of tickets give you a different view of the show.
For sure.
So that's production value in itself.
Yeah, if you're coming with a group, you have a table to sit your stuff at,
Yeah,
and everybody sits
waitresses
together.
and all
Yeah,
that shit,
yeah. So
when they're there.
but the biggest thing for me is, I don't ever want to go to a bigger venue because, well, one, I'm not greedy. As long as we can pay for the show, everybody eats, then I'm happy. But I love that energy, man. When people walk out and that, I've said it a million times, but like sitting there at the cage and hearing the roar of the crowd, I'm never going to be able to go work a job that gives me the type of feelings and appreciation I get when that happens. Because it's a ton of work leading up to the show. And then when it all comes together, it's like, holy shit, we built this.
Yeah.
It's fucking awesome, man. So I'd rather keep it like packed like that and a good energy than.
So about 2,600.
Yeah.
Do you come close to that?
Man,
How was it this show?
Well, I knew, something that never happened before like this was like the tables and the cage side were gone like 2 weeks prior to the show.
Yeah, and
Both
that never
nights.
happens.
Nah,
ever.
I mean, we have 65 tables in there.
I mean, my buddy had me get a hold
yeah.
of you about those ringside tickets.
Yeah.
And that was 2 or 3 weeks before the
Yeah.
show. And you're
Oh,
like,
that was pretty far out.
I
Yeah.
tried to holler at you about some ringside tickets, and they're can't do anything. They're
Yeah.
already all sold out. He got them for Saturday. He couldn't find them for Friday.
Yeah.
Which is a testament to
There you
Friday
go.
in
I'm
itself.
telling you, Friday was
the
booming.
ringsides were gone
Yeah.
2 weeks before for the Friday show,
Yeah.
not the Saturday show.
I try to dissect all that.
but he was
break
there
things
Saturday.
down.
I saw him.
Yeah, there's really no rhyme or reason except for I truly believe it comes down to who's in the cage. I say that in every fighter meeting. Like, you guys are the superstars. They're there for you, not me. And I think that our team has done a really good job of building all of these tools to help them make money off of the fans that power the show.
Oh, yeah.
You're there for them. They should be getting a piece of all that stuff, and just adding those tools and building that over the years. And I mean, let's be honest, man. It's a show. It's a great, cool, fun, electric, visual show, and they're good matchups, man. I mean, at the end of the day, we could have smoke and mirrors and fucking fire and all that crazy shit. We could have dancers hanging from the ceilings and shit. But if the fights aren't matched up well and they suck, then the sport, we're not doing our job. You know what I mean?
Can we talk about dancers hanging from the ceilings?
I mean, I don't know, 2024. I don't know. Hey, yeah, I don't know. So no, I think we're moving in the right direction. But as always, I just want more. I love the visual side of things. I I love working with new fighters. What I'm going to do with this time off is I want to go and I'm going to break down and I want to do a total, because I think we've worked now with like over 1,500 different fighters and like 100 different gyms. Dude, that shit's awesome, man. That's just awesome where it comes from, you know.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's great that all these people from different states want to be a part of Caged Aggression.
Yeah, I know.
And exactly, that's what I'm saying. You've built your brand to where everybody in 50 states, I feel like, know about Caged Aggression and know that they've made people get to where they want to go. You know what I mean? So it's great to be a part of it. It's great to, you know what I'm saying, fight for it as well. And it's all around. It's great to be a fan of Caged Aggression, I would say. You know, anybody that tunes into our show or comes to the show, I think would say the same exact thing.
And speaking of visuals and pay-per-view and stuff like that, I wasn't able to make it on Friday, obviously, but I caught the second half of the card on the pay-per-view. Holy shit.
Bro.
I mean, it's not like type in this and follow the link and go to this.
The shit ain't breaking out on you.
It's not a cell phone fucking recorded thing. Man. It is insane.
You know, our last trailer in March, when we sat down with the team, I was like, I want to show, because you guys probably know from way back, the guy that owns Nitro Tickets, that was Cage Ticks, his name is Jay, and he was way back with Victory. I mean, started it way back, and he's got an awesome thing going.
What's his name again?
Jay.
Jay what?
I'm drawing a blank.
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah. So I've talked to him over the years because I mean he's been in the game way longer than me, right? And he'll send me these compliments once in a while.
Victory Jay, that's what he went by.
Yeah,
Victory Jay. Yeah.
And he'll send me compliments like, man, I'm talking to people in California that know about Cage Aggression. You're doing great things. Over the years, he's really kind of built me up like that. And he just recently hit me up because they want to add being able to buy your pay-per-view on their site like you do the tickets. You know, and I told him we've got a whole website built out and all this stuff. But he's like, when I showed him a clip, he's like, dude, the majority of shows have one stagnant camera. You know, one camera mounted that doesn't move and it shows the cage, and there's your pay-per-view for same $35.
Yeah.
So in March, when we sat down with the team, I said, I want to build a trailer that shows that this isn't your one stagnant camera BS. Like, we got 5 camera angles and graphics and high level commentary and just, man, it's legit, right?
Yeah,
I don't want to sell it too much because then people might not come to the show and shit. But like, but no, my mom's a great example. My mom is brutally honest. And at first, when we're working out the kinks and shit through COVID, trying to figure this thing out, we had a lot of issues. But now she raves, and she'll tell me if it's not on point. So when we built the trailer, remember we had that like streaming satellite going over, and they were showing Paul's room with all the screens.
Oh yeah.
And, you know, like I wanted to show that like this just isn't basic, man. It's super legit, and to see how far they've come, Mindprint and us, and you know Justin Holstein, he's a wizard as well. It's good stuff, man. It's really good stuff. So here's what I want to do, because I've already watched this back. I've already watched the whole weekend back since it's been posted. I brought the fight cards. You guys as fans, fighters, spectators, Fight Talk, what were some of your standout highs and lows of the weekend? Yeah,
even the people in the comments, if you want to talk about a fight, let us know. You know what I mean? We're going to bring up what we said. Before
Gavin
we get
Verveldi already spoke up and said, I absolutely loved everything about fighting on the 15th. And I'm hyped already for the Mega 3-night event.
Hey, man, hey, let's talk about that real quick. Him and Woodford. Okay, so Gavin, Bob Sexton, Morgan Sickinger. Bob Sexton fought for us before, a really great dude. And he says, I'm gonna do my own show. I'm going to try to do my own show. And he came up to me at weigh-ins, and he's like, bro, now I get it. Like, man, what you guys go through to put on these shows, he's like, that was the worst week of my life. But also the greatest, right? But also the greatest. And he's like, how you do these multi-nighters, man, like, hats off. And until you're really living it, it's really hard to see all the shit that goes into it. But Bob has his first show, and Gavin makes his debut. He's from that area and from the team. And he takes a loss, all right, in his debut. And Nick Woodford, his opponent here, comes out, makes his debut in March, takes a quick loss. And so both of them, it lit a fire under them to go in and get better. Yeah. You know, we've always said, like, either kind of it jades you and we never see you again, or
Right.
you go back to the drawing board and you get better. Those guys came out and they were way better than their first fight, and it only been like 5 months.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And just, it was very cool to see that and in the matchmaking part, like, they're very similar in their skill sets and where they are, as far as training time and all that. They've both taken a debut loss, and it was a spot on perfect matchup. I talked to Nick. I don't know what the hell was up with the slippery feet. He was like,
That was fucking
I don't know,
bizarre.
because Gavin's stuck. He's stuck in there. Like,
Yeah,
I'm good.
everybody
But
did.
then, but then Nick's like sliding
he
around.
was
I don't know
on-
what
we
the.
just-
But
I'm sliding for him
Like
right now.
you're skating on
Yeah,
thin
I'm
ice,
sliding
buddy. He's
for
like,
him.
Yeah.
I am.
It was super impressive, and it was cool because when I talked to Nick, I talked to him about a different opponent that had maybe too much jits for what he was looking for, and talking to Bob and those guys about Gavin, they agreed, like, we don't want somebody with a ton of experience and a ton of jits, and it really matched up perfectly, and it also shows, like, I've said this before, like, some of my best friends in the game have lost more fights with me than they have in any other show they fought in, because the hometown guy that lost in March sells a lot of tickets. He should probably get an easy win in October, right? Not with Caged Aggression.
Yeah.
Right.
And he respects that. I said that in the fighter meeting. It's not that we get 2-3 nights worth of talent that want to be a part of this. They want to fight tough guys when there are 10 shows they can go fight an easy guy. You know what I
And
mean?
if they don't want a tough fight, then kick rocks.
Well, I mean,
They ain't the show for you.
or come back after a couple fights. You know what I
After
mean?
you
But-
done whipped a couple people, come back, and then we're gonna test you.
Yeah, I mean, so, like, hats off to both of those guys, man. It was a spot on matchup, and
it was awesome.
Yeah,
It was great. They both came out ready to go. 100%. They both came out ready to go.
Yeah.
Like we said, we don't know what was up with the slippery. I said it might just be, what I'm saying, some inner nerves that just weren't, working right. I don't know. Nobody
Sometimes
knows.
People can't shake them.
Yeah, and that's just what
But
it was.
also, sometimes shit happens. Some days you're the hammer, some days you're the nail.
But he overcame him. Still, he still was in there. You know what I mean? He still went to 2 rounds with him and didn't let that phase him as well. You know what I mean?
I'll say this till I'm blue in the face, but, like, this is why you're amateurs.
100%.
Derek Anderson is a phenomenal example. Coming in, he was 0-3 with Caged Aggression, fighting tough guys, man. Fighting tough guys, and he goes back, gets better, gets knocked out of the night.
Yeah.
You know,
And put on World
Star.
fucking
What the
she's
hell
on
is
World
that?
Star.
She's on World
Right.
Star. Hey, I seen him at the after party. I seen him and his girlfriend. Man, they were on cloud nine.
Oh,
I
yeah.
told him,
Yeah.
man, that shit was
Good
sick,
for him though, dude.
It was.
Because I mean, we talked about it in the pre-fight show that we did. Like, Derek Anderson, he like looks just like one of them street
But he's got
thugs.
skills.
He's got skills for sure.
Yeah.
And I knew he
Yes.
I knew he had skills from watching him previously. Yeah, he took L's, but he's good.
Dude,
and he showed it this past weekend.
And I said it, leading up to that fight when we did the breakdown show. I said he's coming in with a guy that's about to have a fucking shit ton of fans there, man. He's gonna have shit ton. And it got loud when that KJ came out. It did.
Yeah.
But did it shake him? Fuck no, it didn't. He came out there, laid that right hand. You know what I mean? And KJ, he came ready to kill. Dude came ready to kill, but you got to keep your hands up. And, sometimes you're on the short end of the stick. Been there and done that. And, Derek Anderson, he's on World Star now. That's what happened.
And KJ will be back.
No,
Maybe
and
KJ will be back in March.
he was in our corner, man, and I heard him say to Marty, like, well, I just got knocked out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Check that off. I'm gonna get
mean-
better in that aspect. I mean, been there, done that,
Lesson
and
learned.
Yeah,
He wasn't salty about it at all. He literally was like, damn, can't believe it happened. Got to get back to it and ride this out.
totally. Who else got awards that night? On night one, we had obviously Fight of the Night. We'll touch base on that in a minute. Submission of the night, James Martin. Okay, man.
Shit.
Whew. Okay, so I don't know if you guys remember, but James Martin fought our current amateur champion, Jerry Areola. And, man, it was a stellar fight. I think it was actually their toughest fights as they've been amateurs in their career so far. And so, I told James, I'm like, man, I want to see you get a couple wins and right back at it, you know. And Josiah, he's coming off that nasty knockout. in his last showing. So I told these guys, all right, I'd like the winner of this fight to fight for that belt in March. And super quick work. I mean, this was your classic straight kickboxer versus grappler. But man, there was just that was super fast.
Yeah, it really was. I wanted to see a lot more from this fight, and it's not, you know, a knock on the fight itself or any other competitors themselves. I mean, it was just somebody implementing what they're great at in their game plan and executed it like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it sucks to say that as well, because also I've trained with Josiah and I know how hard he trains, so I feel for him. But at the end of the day, that just shows how slick James Martin is, man. It really is.
Yeah.
I told you guys I seen a picture of him submitting some top level people, you know what I mean? And that's what I was scared for in this fight. And he came out there in record fashion and did it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, and James Martin, I mean, he's not just a grappler, I would say, you know, because
For sure.
he stood a lot with Areola.
Oh,
And,
yeah.
I mean, he's got some hands and feet
got
as well.
hands, he
So
can wrestle,
he's a
yeah.
very well-rounded fighter, and an award is well-deserved for
Yeah,
him.
I agree. Let's quickly touch base, man. So Jordan Trowers quickly making a splash on, and we talked about this in the breakdown show. Like, where I struggled was finding him somebody that had the wrestling credentials that Jordan has, because he's obviously a phenomenal wrestler, but that also could throw hands. Because one thing Jordan hadn't been really tested with, like some other fighters in the past that come out dominant, but they hadn't really been tested, was in the stand-up department. And Dante Johnson, whew, when he stepped in, I was like, this is a big man that's athletically big. He's not fat. He's not like sloppy. He's strong, big, and it was kind of dominant, man.
Well, you told us about him. He told us about him in the build up to it, and we didn't know much about him, so we were taking your word for
Sure.
it. And then, sure enough, he got in there, and he went to work. You know what I mean?
Work, yeah,
I mean,
for sure.
Jordan Trowers, he did the best he could, you know, dealing with that size. But I mean, the dude was a real heavyweight with hands, with wrestling. You know what I mean? And when you get to that level that Jordan's at now, you're gonna deal with that. You're gonna get that type of matchup almost every single time.
Yeah.
So,
And that's one of them things that you face when you're fighting at heavyweight. You know, if you don't want to fight them giants or them big athletic guys that are just gifted naturally,
Yeah.
then maybe go down and weight. You know, he can't be a hand bone forever if he wants to reach the higher levels. And I'm sure Jordan does, because I mean,
Yeah.
he expects a lot of himself, and he likes to win and compete. So,
I mean, I definitely think he can make 205.
yeah.
It's just gonna take dedication. It's gonna take, you know what I mean, the diet, the training. He has the training. It's gonna take the diet, is what it's gonna come down to.
100%.
And so it's up to him if he wants to do that or not.
Yeah, I mean, because I honestly didn't know if I was going to be able to find somebody that, like, Dante's hands overwhelmed Jordan to where he couldn't wrestle. You know what I mean? He just overwhelmed him with
He was
his
shooting to
accuracy.
stop
Like it was
hands.
immediately too late.
When I saw the kind of that long takedown attempt
He was
that
shooting
you
to
don't
stop the
see from
hands.
Jordan, that that I was like, yeah, he's in trouble, and he'll get better. And Dante's already got something scheduled, I think, like Nebraska or Ohio or something. He'll quickly make a name in the amateur heavyweight ranks, because he's a state wrestler, but that can box.
Yeah.
That's huge. So quickly too, Cameron and Dominic, I told you guys, man, I thought that these were like two dudes looking in the mirror. They're down the middle. It's flip a coin. And, with Dominic, man, this is very Sam Agushi-esque. If you guys remember, he's dominating the fight and then makes a mistake.
Yeah.
And in this one, and I've talked to him, I think he made a couple mistakes. The first mistake
he
is,
did.
Cameron's a grappler. I mean, so continue to use those hands, but stay composed. You have 15 minutes to do it. Now, I can only imagine when you get into a cage that you want to get out of there as fast as possible, but you have 15 minutes.
Yeah.
You don't have to do it in the first minute, and then the walking him across the cage.
Terrible mistake.
That was it.
I mean,
Terrible
and
mistake.
he knows that, and it's not trash talking, because he'll get better from it. But like, it was showboat-esque.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. I don't want to make him mad with saying it. You know what I mean? Because I know he watches the show, and I know he's from around here.
Yeah, he's part of the
But
family for sure.
There was absolutely no reason for him to do that. He should have just picked him up and slammed him. It's kind of like the same thing I said about Brant with his losses back in the day.
Totally, that's a great example.
You know what I mean? You're going into a game plan, or you're trying to make it look a way that it shouldn't be, when you should have just lifted him up, dumped him, got back into the fight. You
Get
know
to
what I mean?
business.
There was no reason to showboat and lift him up and show your strength.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was an amateur move in a pro fight. He should have got immediately down to business. All it did was allow him to sink that in.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it screwed him.
Yeah.
I was gonna say it fucked him, but yeah, it fucked him. Like, and as soon as he picked him up, and I was like, oh no, and walked him all the way across. I'm like, fucking dummy.
He had
dummy.
He was pressuring him. He was making him on his back foot.
Yeah,
you know what I
for
mean?
sure.
I mean, he was looking good. He was blocking everything. He looked good in his hands. He looked good in his kicks. He looked ready for it. And like I'm saying, that one slip up of falling into their game plan, can ruin the fight right there. And
What is that? Did it take you guys time fighting to like not want to get in and get out, or to stay composed, or to know that like I've got time, let me dictate this fight? I mean, were you just like how long did it take you guys to understand that part of the game?
I don't think I've ever been in a mindset inside of a fight where I'm like, you know, this is easy so far, so I'm gonna string this along, you know. And I haven't had a lot of easy. I've had some easy fights, no doubt about it, but I've always finished the fights easy, you know, finished them fast. And I don't want to make mistakes, especially as a professional. I never tried to make mistakes that were going to cost me the fight and cost me my win purse, and, you know, like cut my paycheck in half.
Sure.
And that's kind of what really kept me from trying to do any type of funky shit like that. Was if I walk out of here with half a paycheck, I'm gonna be fucking pissed.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm not saying he's wrong for doing it, because the shit does look good.
Not at all.
And if it would have worked,
the
crowd would have went nuts.
Sure.
But where do you draw the line in the sand to say, I need to fucking... And it's so early in the fight. They're both... And Pat said it in the commentary. I was watching it on pay-per-view. They're both dry as a bone, and he's already got him locked up. He's high, but the guy's long and lanky.
Super,
you know?
yeah.
It was just good initiative, bad judgment. You know what I'm saying? So it was a good thing to maybe try to Matt Hughes him across the cage and try to put him in his corner or whatever, make it look good, make the crowd go crazy. But bad judgment in doing it at the time that he did against a fresh fighter who's dry. And you need to win. You need to win as a professional.
The number one rule that was told to me from the beginning, and I've stuck to it till now: basics win fights. Mm-hmm. Basics win fights. Basic move there is to get them on the ground, get them off of you, and get to work. You know what I mean? Basics win fights, and that's what it's come down to. That's always stuck into my head from day one.
Yeah.
And that's how I've always trained, and that's how I fought in unless something else has presented itself. You know what I mean? So that's just all I can say on that.
Another one close to that, Pat always said, a good offense gets you fight of the night, but a good defense makes you a world champion. Kind of same thing.
Defense wins championships. They say it all the time. And then the main event, my goodness. I love, we've had a decade plus of fights, and man, when they're storybook, Mike Reddish's fight, that was storybook. Your fight was pretty storybook. There's these standout moments, man, where you're just like, damn, we just watched. Well, let me first say, Keegan Agnew. Austin Hubbard was at the point like, I'll fight anybody that you'll get to sign the damn contract.
Right.
Right? Nobody can get me fights. And I was confident we could get him a fight, but it had to be the right fight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And to touch base on what I said earlier, man, like Austin Hubbard is going through something that nobody can really understand unless they've lived it.
Yeah.
And it's heartbreaking, but he refused to back out. And I still gave him somebody that can beat him. You know what I mean? That's important to me, man. Like
Agnew was very game.
At the end of the day, if anybody was ever deserving of an easy win based on what they're going through, it was Austin Hubbard. Mm-hmm. But that's not going to get him back to where he wants to be, man. And he knows that, and I know that, and Nick knows that, and so Keegan was the perfect opponent because, and I had said it a million times, like, man, the energy in that room will be sucked out. And if there was an upset that was going to happen that weekend, it was that fight, man, because he's so game, man. He was in his face for 25 minutes. Keegan Agnew, number one, he's never taken a loss, so he doesn't know what that feels like. He also never stopped coming forward. I mean,
he was still trying to push
he was
it.
in great shape.
Even when he got, you know what I'm saying, he got touched a little bit. He was still trying to make it his fight.
Yeah.
100%. He was
And
out there doing his thing.
And then it did show what all these years at Team Elevation and all these years fighting in the UFC does. Because Keegan brought everything he had, but it just wasn't enough, man.
Yeah.
Austin Hubbard is another level, and I'm happy for both of them. It was a hell of a fight for the fans and for Caged Aggression, man. What more can you ask for? Like I said earlier, 25-minute championship, awesome fight. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, like I said it to you, I was sitting next to you cage side for that fight, and I told you, I go, Austin Hubbard always had a gas tank when he was here in Illinois, Iowa. He went to Colorado. You think he ain't going to up that gas tank now? And Keegan was, we said he was looking kind of fading, breathing heavy around 3-4.
Yeah.
Hubbard looked like he could win another 10 rounds.
Yeah.
Period. You know what I mean? That was it. And that's always been his go-to, is he's always had the tank when he was here. So training at that elevation and that level of competition is obviously going to boost it. And it showed why he's one of the best in the world and why he obviously deserves a shot back.
Well, and not even that. I saw him make a post like, all right, Bellator, PFL, UFC, what's up? I mean, you're with Team Iridium now, one of the best management companies in the country. Get the guy back on a big stage, man.
Yeah.
He deserves it. He
It'll
deserves
happen.
it.
Get that PFL million.
So, I mean, shit. Get
a
get
fat
him
stack
something.
of money, bud.
Hey, that's what I want to fight for. Give me a chance at $1 million. We're doing some things.
Yeah, that was...
Dude, I can't remember what round it is or when it happened, but he hit him. I think it was a head kick. He hit him with a head kick and then fucking flying skip knee, and that landed perfect and just folded him to the back. And I was like, oh, it's over. And Keegan fucking came back.
Yeah.
He impressed. He definitely impressed.
He
looked good in his last fight against, was it Schulte?
Yeah.
His last fight?
Yeah.
He
Super
looked
strong
great
wrestler.
in that fight. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he looked good in this fight. You can't knock him for anything that he did in that fight.
Keegan's one of those guys where now it's like, shit, man. I've already thought like, nah, who do I put do I put him with? If he was just a little bit smaller, man, I would like, or a little bit bigger, I'd like him and Jenkins, because I think he would bring the fight to Jenkins. And Jenkins wants those guys with tons of fights and like tons of experience, and I love that about him.
Yeah.
But
Here he goes teasing us.
No.
I said, here he goes teasing
What do you
us.
mean if he was a little bit bigger?
Well, that was a 55, and Jenkins 65-70. He's a 65.
I thought he fought at 55 too.
65 when he fought for us.
Really?
Yeah, and it's one of those things like, I make the announcement 5.5 months out about March, and of course he hits me up. I'll see you in March, and I'm like, these guys, I feel like you get to a point where you just deserve bigger stages, bigger paydays.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And Jenkins is one of those. He has this love for Caged Aggression and the family we've built here and all of us that is pretty humbling. But at the end of the day, man, like, kind of feel bad giving him a check. Like, it's not pennies, but it's not what you should be making, really, as anybody. I mean, I don't cash a check that I should be making, but we have this love for the sport that keeps us doing it. But it's hard for me to say 5.5 months out, yeah, bro, you're in, because I hope in the next 5.5 months you get a call of some sort, So we'll see what happens. But yeah, that I already start thinking. I can't shut my brain off, so I already start thinking of matchups that just get me excited because never stops. So we move to Saturday after a crazy Friday. You guys want to touch base on a couple of the lows of the weekend? Because I'll tell you what, in 11 years, I had 2 things happen that have never happened in 11 years. And, I mean, I guess you're never...
Let's talk about them.
Fuck, man.
Well, I mean, that's... When we got into it, that was another reason of what I'm saying Friday and Saturday was different for the kickoff low of Saturday, you know what I mean?
Well, and imagine how stacked Friday was. Imagine if we would have got to see Brant Cooper and David Glover.
Yeah.
Add that to what was already an epic night, man. It's like, yeah. So, 11 years. Here's the deal. I take very much pride in this aspect of the game. When somebody gets hurt, somebody backs out, it is my job to fill that fight. You know, what I see all the time is if the hometown guy gets hurt, they scrap the fight altogether. Well, I'm not going to pay for the out-of-town guy to come in and fight another out-of-town guy because that doesn't make business sense. That's bullshit. Because that out-of-town guy committed to you the same way the hometown guy did, right? So I can't stand seeing that shit. Well, the fight was scrapped. I couldn't fill it. You know, I'm like, bullshit. You didn't want to fill that fight. I will fill the fight at all costs. It may not be the fight that the fans want or deserve or that the fighters want or deserve, but at the end of the day, my job is to fill the fights. When you tell me 3 hours before weigh-ins that you're 18 pounds over as a professional, or you tell me 4 hours before the fight that you're not fighting as a professional, you fucked us. And there's no way to sugarcoat that. You didn't give me the opportunity. You didn't give us the opportunity. And these aren't guys that don't know what's going on, man. You know the game very well. You've been in it a long time. And all I ask for all the work that we put in building up to the show, that you give me enough time to fix it. Okay? I get it. Injuries happen. We had a couple super legitimate injuries with Noah and with Blackerby.
Yeah.
And those are super legit injuries.
You found out the day it happened as soon as they left the gym,
Right.
if not before they even left the gym.
And I'm on it, man, and I'm on fixing it, and that's the respect that I feel that we deserve. And I didn't get it, man.
No.
And so to make those 2 phone calls, bro, you know how emotional I get with this stuff, and to have to make those 2 calls was really, really shitty. Because I didn't have adequate time to fix it. I even saw a comment on Brandt's post from Jeff Perez, of all people. He says, well, if Mike took care of you, why don't you have a fight? Well, that's pretty shitty, Jeff. Like, because I had 3 fucking hours,
doesn't make any
bro.
fucking sense.
Like, dude, you don't know what you're talking about.
And this isn't boxing. What are you going to feed him some can from Wisconsin that maybe has some blood work done?
Right. So
Find a guy that's ready with some blood work
Do the
on
boxing
3
way?
hours notice. Yeah. No.
When they say that they took care of us, it's because we financially took care of them for doing their part.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I didn't have the time to fix it. So that was weird, man. I hope to never experience that again. I'm thankful that in over a decade, that's the first time those 2 things have happened, but that was the lows. Those were the 2 that really stung. And I think that we've grown a lot too, because man, back in the day, I might have locked myself in the bathroom and had a fucking moment, because I hate not being able to fix things.
Was it a nightmare?
Ha, pun intended.
Was it a nightmare?
Well, I just don't get it, man.
Down to feast,
you
baby.
know?
Down to feast. You should have known.
No, but I shouldn't have, because like I said, things have always been on point, and that's when you're really blindsided. You know, if one of you guys did it, I'd be like, what the fuck?
I would never
either
agree
of us
to
do
I
that-
would never agree to a weight that I couldn't make. Let's start there.
And if I ever did that, I would allow you to punch me directly in the dick.
Me? Or
Yes.
I could pick
I'd
somebody from
let
the
both of
roster
you.
to. Okay, cool.
Or that,
So,
yeah, sure.
But you know me, man. Here's what I'm not gonna do. I'm not gonna take anything away from the 48 fighters that originally signed and were there that weekend.
Yeah.
That is those numbers. You don't get that, man.
And all them guys still made it a hell of a show and a hell of a weekend.
Ridiculous
So it
that I
doesn't
get
matter.
that. That's why I do multi-night events. That's why I continue to do this so long, is because, like, that's 50 fighters that said, yep, I want to fight for you. Yes, I'll fight that person. And 2 months later, they're there. That's impressive shit, man. So I'm not going to dwell on the negatives, because, you know, I'm not like that. But it sucked, and it sucked for their opponents. But we took care of them. They know we got nothing but love, and we focus on the positive.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Let's pick a couple from the prelim fights just to talk about quick, to go over, and then we'll pick a couple from the main.
Yeah, I like that.
Just a quick breeze over.
One that really stands out in the undercard is I had a debut fight, Chad Hinton and Brody Ivy. That's one of those that we always say, if it's matched right, you would never know that they're amateurs or pros, but more importantly, you would never know it was their first fights. That was a 3-round technical back and forth striker versus wrestler, but the wrestler wanted to strike for 3 rounds. you know how that goes. That was an awesome fight.
Dude, the heavyweights. Big Jesus, he was dope.
Yeah.
The heavyweights
He was good, man.
showed out all weekend.
Yeah,
and it started,
I agree.
and I think it started. You know, we're not gonna
Backtrack a little bit.
backtrack into too much. But Delph's comeback win from fucking round 1, he was dominating round 1, and then fucking got caught
hard.
and was out on his feet.
I
It
thought
looked
it was
like
over.
I mean, my
I
man,
thought it was over
my
there.
man was looking at Mars. And then next thing you know,
Nah, he was looking at Uranus.
He's shooting, he's shooting and getting into it, and then comes out and puts his game plan back into effect with elbows and knees
Short
and ground and
elbows.
pound.
Yeah.
And then so that was one, and then the heavyweight right there, fucking that was heavyweight, right?
Yep.
No, right here.
Burdock.
The
Burdock
Burdock.
West
I don't know how
Westfall.
to say his name. I can't. I'm sorry, but yeah, that heavyweight
Adam.
fight into the next week, into the next night. Holy shit!
Yeah, that one was nuts.
Yeah, he's going to be a problem for people because he's big, but he's strong and athletic, and he's got pretty accurate hands. But he also can wrestle. We didn't even really see that.
Yeah.
He just, you know, and both of those guys made their debuts a few months back, and they both won. Yeah, it was another great matchup, and I just think that Adam was just too much for him.
Mm-hmm.
It just kind of overwhelmed him.
100%.
And Reese did his thing with the wrestling. It's just the Adam's hands.
Yeah.
You find these heavyweights that have good, accurate hands, man. Those are fun to watch.
Yeah, for sure.
And he supposedly could wrestle as well, but we didn't even need to see it.
Yeah.
You know,
You make
so
quick work.
that's
Yeah.
the way to do it at heavyweight.
I was going to. Oh, shit. Gavin and Cameron, early stop.
I don't know.
I obviously have my opinion, but
I'd have to
curious
go
what
back
you
and
guys-
watch again because I do remember in my head complaining about an early stoppage.
Yep.
Yeah.
But in the heat of the moment, you know, you can see it when you go back and watch it again. Like, not to go into something else, but like a Peter Yan and O'Malley type thing. Go back and watch it again and see what you really saw.
Yeah.
I'd like to do that with that one.
You know what?
Because maybe Bruce, I'm pretty sure it was Bruce.
Ben.
No, it was Ben.
Was it Ben?
I-
Ben.
I'm remembering it
He might
now,
have
kinda.
seen something that we didn't.
Here's what made it.
And
here's
being
what,
a ref and have reffing a lot of fights
Oh, yeah.
before, sometimes you do see shit that people don't see or hear things that people don't hear. So
here's what made it a little sketchy. So I talked to Gavin's dad. As a fan, you never want to see it stopped.
yeah,
As a promoter, referee, knowing they've got to work on Monday, knowing these kids are young, they got their whole future, it's a very good stop. Where it gets a little sketchy is the indecisiveness in the reffing. So when he first got flash knocked out, that's when it should have been stopped.
Mm-hmm.
Ben went in but didn't stop it. But he made the motion he was going in to stop it, so Cameron did the walk-off. Right, this fight's
That's
over.
what I told
and
you
then
cage
Ben
side.
did
That
not
was it.
stop it. He did not stop it. So Cameron turns around like, "Oh, we're fighting." Well, at that point, Gavin's back. So then he just comes in with that, overhand drop down and hits him, and then he stops it. Well, he's not out at that point. So then Gavin's like, "I'm not out. Not now. You're not." Quickly flash knockout. You were, but unfortunately Ben missed that one, and so it creates this confusion. Gavin will go back to 170. He'll put on muscle until March. He will be more dominant back then. He had a tough cut. Not to take anything away from Cameron.
No.
He won the fight, absolutely. It just, what made it more apparent to the crowd and to Gavin that it could have been early is that
Everybody was like, what the hell? And I said, the walk-off, he bit into the walk-off. Dude thought he had it completely
what I
finished, and he
can't
bit into the
stand.
walk-off, and he just visualized that. So he goes in there, and we've seen it before. Some people do the walk-off, but the ref doesn't call it, and they get hit with one more, and then the ref jumps in, and it's too late.
Yeah.
But that wasn't the case. He jumped in and swung, but dude was fully back, like we
Yeah,
said.
totally.
And hey, that's what comes into a little bit of showboat. That you walk off shot, and you think you got it, could go your way.
Yeah, totally, yeah. So, I mean, obviously both those guys will be back. I actually got a message earlier from Noah Bellini that said, "I'd like to fight that Cameron Reigns." I was like, "I'd like you to.
I'd like that too.
That'd be a great
That,
fight."
you know who that Cameron Reigns?
We're in.
reminds me
Sign
of?
up for the fan.
I'll come watch that shit.
Yeah, that's a
I'll
good-
watch
that's a good
anything
one.
that Noah's fighting in.
So then we got to do a couple. We got to
No,
do,
hold on.
Uh-oh.
Before I was gonna say, and we talked about it at the fights. That Cameron Reigns kid, he reminds me of an old school fighter. not super old school, but Adam Schumacher.
Oh yeah,
Back in the day,
fuck
with the
that.
bleach
Yes.
hair and the hot pink shorts.
Why are we
Like,
giving
man,
him a
I
shout out?
can't stand that kid, but he is good. Cameron is pretty good.
better than Adam.
Better
Yeah,
than
better
Adam.
than Adam.
Let's talk about who we're talking about here. We're
Yeah.
not talking about
Yeah,
Adam.
we're not talking about Adam. I'm just saying he reminds me of him with his bleached hair and all that shit.
Yeah,
But he is good. I mean, he's got a little swagger to him, maybe a little cockiness, but he backed it up.
Oh,
He
yeah.
looked good for
100%.
sure.
comes from the dojo. You know, our boy Hinman's got a little bit of that same swagger and confidence, cockiness. So yeah, I can see that. Man, speaking of Noah, had the injury. I don't know if there would have been a better person to step in than Bryn, because that turned into a 5-round fucking
Man,
brawl.
what a fight!
Woo! That was fun.
That was a
I
good
told
one.
you,
That was
I told you
fun.
guys.
And
my
I was
man
worried
Bryn
that
coming.
we'd get a soft Bryn or like a not prepared Bryn.
I never was.
Dude, I was worried.
I told him from the get-go.
Because
I
there
go,
are some days that Bryn
coming
shows
into
up.
fight.
There's
Sure.
like a this Bryn, and then there's the other Bryn.
Sure.
I thought we were gonna get the other Bryn. We got the fucking top level Bryn, and he looked great. I mean, he did lose. Man,
mean-
he made losing look good.
Yeah, for
He
sure.
fucking looked awesome.
I called the Quinn and Noah fight the fight of the night, and then when this came there, I said it. I was like, I don't really think this is much different from a fight of the night type fight. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? And sure enough, from minute 1 till fucking the end of the fight, it was nonstop action.
Yeah,
it was
they
great.
put
It
on
was
hardcore.
great.
You know, and you could tell too when in that 5th round, Quinn, he had to work for that fight.
He was tired.
Like I mean,
He had to dig
yeah,
deep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously toughest fight. He earned it. You know, even at the amateur level, I know that the amateur belts are really just to promote and prepare them to become a pro. But I still want them to be credible. I still want it. I don't want to just walk in there and give it to somebody that didn't earn it. And man, he earned it. Yeah,
Quinn would look good as a pro.
Yeah.
That type of
He's
fight
got
right there.
professional qualities for
That
sure.
type of fight right there, him going through that and having to dig deep in that 5th round to win his amateur belt. That's what teaches you about yourself, though.
Yeah,
That's what
for
teaches you
sure.
about yourself and lets you know that you are ready for the next level. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I feel like Bryn's been ready for the next level, so he has nothing to hang his head about. But for Quinn, that shows him what type of fighter he really is and what type of grit he has. And I think I'd love to see him as a pro, even in 1 or 2 more fights.
I don't think I've ever told somebody after losing a fight that they're ready to go pro. Bryn said he wins this belt, he's going pro in March. But then he said, "What do you think now?" And I'm like, "You're still ready, bro.
Been
You
ready.
had like 30 amateur fights. You fought everybody. You're not and here's what I hope everybody understands with caged aggression. I'm gonna use Jake Melick as a great example. Jake is not a fighter per se. He's a very athletic, motivated dude that's in different sports that just likes to train and fight. But really, he's a wrestler. But he's not really that like fighter mentality. He fucking hates taking fights. He gets nervous. He tells me he's scared to fucking make his pro debut, even though he knows he's ready. And when we see Jake each time, he's way better than the last time. He's
He is
ready, right?
fucking good.
He's ready. But
He's got that switch.
he's like, fuck, now I got to go fight pro, and this is beating this right now. Guys, you have to know, like, when you have this extensive amateur career, or you fight these stud amateurs, I'm not fucking giving you the top dog in the pro ranks for your pro debut.
right.
I'm giving you hopefully
evenly
another pro
matched.
debut that either one of you can win the fight. You know what I mean? So Bryn will start over on that level of things. Jake will start over on that level of things. But like, when it's time, man. If you feel you're ready, I'm going to give you what I feel is the right fight for both of you guys.
Absolutely.
You know,
Yeah.
for sure. So he's in good hands. I think his pro debut will be super fun. Both of those guys. You know, it's just timing. When they're ready, I'm ready. You know?
Well,
For sure.
if I got one thing to say, Bryn, let's fucking go. It's time to go pro.
Yeah, it's about fucking time.
So I might skip over this one. So we had a quick change of main events. Again, never happened in 11 years. But Jeff Jepson, man, I love the kid. I've always called him Little Wisely. If there's one thing that stands out, Cortavius is a stand-up guy, man. But when I booked the fights with Jeff, I talked to Mark Kilberg. He kind of acts as his manager, coach type of thing.
Same guy. That's Wisely's.
Yeah.
Kinda
And he's been
sensei.
doing it a long time. And, you know, it got to a point where I even had to challenge Mark, like, do you like me, bro? Like, I get this vibe you don't really like me. Is it because, like, I just don't know. And I think it's because it's not that he doesn't like me. He just, when we talk about opponents, he throws out names that are not quality matchups.
Mm-hmm.
And hey, your manager, coach, I get it, right? Let's get some wins. Or maybe you see things that I don't see because you're in there with them every day. But I put Jeff on kind of a pedestal like I do Eric. And Cortavius, yeah, he's got some, he's got some jits, but like he's a stand-up guy. And I thought that would be one of those fights where later rounds they would just come alive and it would be that type of fight. But Cortavius submits him. So I sit back like, shit, man, the grappler beat the striker. I can't help but think like Eric Wisely, one of the best fighters I've ever gotten to work with, but if he had one Achilles when he made it to the UFC or Bellator or whatever, they would throw him these nasty Brazilians with sick jits. Mm-hmm. And their gym doesn't really do much jits. Mm-hmm. Let's go back to Josiah. They don't really do much of that side of things. The wrestling and jits. Great strikers, great kickboxers. Obviously, Wisely's stand-up is super superior, but when they lose, it's been to the grapplers. So I think that's what happened there, man. I think Jeff was ready. It's just that, yeah, I don't know. I mean, and is that a Summit thing? Summit's primarily wrestling. I know obviously there's jits, but like, is that what's missing in that repertoire from Iowa top team?
I don't know. I feel like Jeff honestly is very well rounded. I've always thought that about him. I always thought that he pushes pace and he's very well rounded. But I think maybe Cortavius dude was big. He was jacked, man. I mean, I think he was just too strong, dude. And he went out there and just had the better, you know what I'm saying, mindset and game plan. Maybe, you know what I mean? He just went out there and did his thing. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you got to look in the mirror and be like, that guy was just better than me that night. You know what I mean? I think that's what it came down to. I don't think it was a lack of skill from Jeff. I don't think it was a lack of being unprepared. But I believe that just Cortavius that night was better, was bigger, stronger, and was faster to what he wanted to do. And that's what happened.
Now, little side story is pretty cool, pretty funny. Jeff stops by the house to grab something out of the mailbox. And about 20 minutes later, after he comes by, he hits me up. He's like, so I noticed you got a couple stumps in your yard. Hey, you want me to grind those out for you? So he's going to get his win money, even though he didn't win the fight. He's going to get his so
that's a hustler right there.
That's a hustle.
That's a hustler right there.
That's fucking awesome. So, no, I love working with those guys.
Shannon said he bets you won't chug for 5 right now.
We can't do that on the show. That's not a show type thing, dude. That's
Grow
not a show type thing.
Whatever, dude. Whatever.
Should. Hey, but Jeffrey Wilson said, will El Tigre be stepping back in the cage? I mean, we could take a little pause. We're done with cage aggression. We're done with domination is over. Ladies and gentlemen, it's finalized. It's over. It's in the books.
Dominatrix is over.
Dominatrix. So, I mean, answer the fans' questions. Man.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
People want to know.
Well, what month are we in right now?
You've been in the gym and shit. Like, that's what...
I have, but I've had some things I've had to, overcome and deal with just outside of the gym. But in a perfect world, El Tigre is going to be back in March 100%. You know what I mean? I'll be back in March 100% if things go accordingly. We'll see. But if you had to bet an over-under, you bet that money on the over. I'll be in there in March. You know what I'm saying?
I'd bet it. I mean, I would. I'd bet it. Not like I'm going to be betting November, but we leave that shit off camera, bro. Hey, we leave that off camera. No, but okay, so...
You started it.
I know. I didn't mean to. So, UFC 280, biggest card of the year. I got to be careful with that, because sometimes... I said that on our last podcast. Like, if there was one thing that stood out for October, what is it? I thought the matchups were really on point. And it did deliver, and thankfully, because hate saying something and it doesn't come to life. UFC 280 had its moments, but fucking kind of a bust, man.
It was a buzzkill for me for sure.
I felt the same way. I literally did. There's a lot.
It kind of hurt. Afterwards, I'm like,
I didn't get.
First of all, it was
it
at
wasn't
1
for
o'clock.
Philly.
Like, what the
Yeah, it was
fuck?
a little
It was
different.
at 1 o'clock. I didn't like that. You
For
know?
one, I worked that Saturday. I got off. The prelims were on. I'm like, well, geez, do I drink beer at 12 o'clock in this afternoon on a Saturday and watch these fights?
Yes.
Do I do
Answer
it?
is yes.
I don't know. Do I take a nap quick because I don't care about any of these undercard fights really until we get to the main card?
Mm-hmm.
You know, so it was. They already threw it off there,
Yeah.
and then just the whole, like you said, what I don't even know what it is. Like the card was good, but it just didn't live up to that hype. I feel like.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I was absolutely wrong up and down the card. I was wrong. Like
I was too, man. To be completely honest with you, I was even. I mean, so I usually start my picks with like the prelim main event. So Sean Brady and Bilal Muhammad.
yeah.
Sean Brady was the undefeated guy who
Right.
has been.
Did you bet Sean?
He's been great. I didn't bet. I
Oh.
haven't bet for a while.
But
But
thought
if I was a betting man, I would have bet my money on Sean.
Well, I didn't, and I won that one.
That's good. Bilal Muhammad, he is really good, no doubt
he's
about
a
it.
stud.
And he had his way with Sean. I mean, he kind of made him look like a punk.
Yeah.
I mean, he walked through him
Well, the
and
thing
just
is-
beat him up, just smoked him.
What he did
Finish
was
him
the
at the
way
end
to
of the
win.
second
What he
round.
did was the way to win. Put the pressure on him. He stayed in his face. You know what I mean? He kept him on his
And
back
that's one
foot.
thing he's really good at, you know?
And the only reason I really did bet Belil is because I've lost so much money betting against that
Against
motherfucker
him, yes.
that the guy makes me. I can't doubt him anymore. So I'm like, he's gonna go out there and do it. And then the dude went out there and looked amazing. He honestly did. I think he beat the undefeated fighter. He broke him. I feel
Yeah.
like he kind of broke him.
Yeah, for sure. He definitely broke him. And they kept talking about how Sean Brady had like nose surgery or something like that, and he got hit in the nose, and that fucker turned bright red. He looked like goddamn
Well,
Rudolph.
I think I even seen in the corner. It was kind of crooked, like it
Yeah.
was back to how it used to
Like
be.
he got surgery
what I
that
mean?
night,
Yeah.
You know?
and it fucked him up, and that threw him off big time.
Well, what'd you think?
No, I didn't. Undefeated doesn't always. I didn't take the time to like dissect the undefeated record because you know how that can be. But I saw it going that way. I mean, I did. I think that overall, like he's been kind of dominating guys that aren't ranked. He's been dominating guys that are like, again, like you're fighting in the UFC, man. You're fighting the best in the world. So who the fuck am I to say, well, you haven't fought anybody,
Yeah.
right? You're undefeated doesn't mean shit. It does matter, but not that level yet.
Belil's been through the ringer.
Yeah,
he's fought all the time.
He came to a fight where, for in my opinion, it was the first fight where he's like, he was the big underdog. You
Yeah.
know? So it kind of played out how it should have.
Yeah.
I guess I didn't expect it to be that dominant. You know what I mean? Like he kind of
It was
whatever he
pretty
wanted.
fucking one-sided.
Yeah.
It was.
So I mean, but still a little lackluster too. Still a little lackluster. You know?
Yeah. Benil Dariush and Mateusz Gamrot. Dude, I'm tired of fucking counting Dariush out. And I didn't really count him out on this one. I had him winning against Gamrot. But Dariush is a savage. I mean, he is just a fucking warrior.
Yeah.
And he beat the dog shit out of Gamrot. He made Gamrot look like trash. Like, Gamrot looked like a one-dimensional wrestler who had no stand-up and was just...
Yeah.
I mean, he was all on defense the whole time. He got his ass whooped.
He did.
Totally one-sided.
He did. And
Dariush needs a title shot.
But see, that's the thing. That's what I'm going to get to right here. Is I had Dariush. He was in there too. Won on that. But I feel like he's been around so long, and he's been around in so many wars against the top dogs. You know what I'm saying? Kind of like Belil has, but even more at his weight class.
Yeah.
That title shot, I think he gets finished in a title shot. Honestly, I do. I really do.
Yeah.
I think.
Well, then who does
That's
he
the same
fight
weight, isn't it?
before? I mean, then who does he?
Are they 170s? No, I think.
No,
I thought
Dariush is 55. Yeah, you're right.
I think.
You're right.
Who busted your parlay?
Well, we'll get to that next.
Oh.
fight. We're gonna get to that bullshit.
Talk about
next.
that.
In a
Yeah.
Okay, have
pink-haired
either
dude.
one of you watched this fight back? The O'Malley.
A second time, no. I know I talked
Are we
about
getting
this.
straight to that now? Okay. We'll get to
Wait,
it.
you want to go back to
Hey,
Darius?
No,
I
fuck it.
promise you guys. Hey, this is by no means standing up for him or thinking that it wasn't robbery or whatever. But you will see a different fight when you watch it the second time.
And I've seen that quite
I
a bit.
won't.
You
on
will.
Social media.
You will because if you got money on it, you got your heart and your money. You got your heart and your money. You're watching the fight differently. It's like when you watch the fight as a fan and when you watch the fight as a judge. You're watching two different fights, man. And when I watched it back, it's closer than everybody thinks.
I thought
but
it
he
was
still
close
lost.
to begin with.
It was close. It was
was
close,
close.
but you gotta add in the control time and the fucking takedowns. Yeah, the takedowns, he might not have done a lot of damage with them, but he still fucking took him down.
Yeah.
He still took him down and landed something. What the fuck? You know what I mean?
Fluff. I think it's important to discuss Mickle convincing me to change my bet from Sterling to Dillashaw. You owe his ass some money, bro.
No, bullshit.
What the fuck?
Bullshit. Fucking Dillashaw was injured. We'll get to that.
Yeah.
Fuck you, Plummy. We're going back to O'Malley.
Yeah.
Shut up.
Okay, back to O'Malley. Sorry, that was a great comment.
I mean,
No, I don't fucking care. I think Jan won that fight, no matter what.
Yeah, I'm not gonna
I mean,
watch
I
it
agree.
back because if you're a judge in that time,
You don't
the
get to watch
stats
it
fucking
back.
say Jan won the fight. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Everybody thinks Jan won the fight. So if you watch it back,
Yeah.
you're already thinking watching it back with
You're
open
putting
mind.
Sean
Like,
O'Malley
it's
in
too
the
late.
let's
winner's
watch it.
circle.
You know what I
Well,
mean?
here's what I hate. I do hate the armchair fans that are like, it's fucking fixed, and the UFC fixed that for O'Malley.
Yeah.
I gotta be very, very, very clear. The UFC has nothing to do with the judges.
Yeah.
Cage aggression has nothing to do with the judges' scores. Stop fucking telling the promotions fixing fights when the athletic commission assigns the judges.
Maybe in boxing.
The UFC built Fight Island.
However, I was just gonna say, if there's one fucking place you could tell the judges what to do,
In
it's
Fight
Abu
Island.
Dhabi on Fight Island that you built
But
during
it wasn't
COVID.
was it on?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. They fucking took it to Fight Island and they built it, so they bring who they fucking want
Yeah,
in there and they
it's-
run the shit.
I mean, Hasbulla was there. For
Fuck 'em.
fuck's sake.
Yeah, fuck that little guy too.
Tell
I want
him
to
it-
punt that little dude.
No,
if you like
I like
Hasbulla
him.
and you watch this show, I'm gonna punt you
Dude,
too.
I've taken 30-minute shits watching Hasbulla videos. Okay.
Okay,
And I only have to-
so this is what I want to say about this. Anytime
No
fucking
Hezbollah.
Sean, fuck Hezbollah, little bitch.
haters, man. I like him.
I like the other one better.
What, the singer? Oh, with the dove and shit.
No, the little one that he's always fighting.
Yeah,
Little-
it's the singer. He's a singer, yeah.
Oh. He's always got a little yarmulke on. Anyways, O'Malley.
Okay.
Every time that O'Malley threw a combo and landed, Peter Yan returned fire immediately. He always countered and he always landed. Every single time. So, if Sean O'Malley lands and the interaction is over and then Peter Yan comes back and hits him back, I think that's a different story. But any time Sean O'Malley went in on him, he paid for it.
Yeah.
Peter Yan
every time.
always
Every
countered.
fucking time.
Every single time, and he'd always land. That is the same thing as taking somebody down and popping right back up.
Yeah.
And never Sean O'Malley did that. Anytime he got taken down, there was always something going on the ground before he got back
Before he
up.
got up, exactly.
There was always
whether it wasn't
significant
damage.
control time or damage or anything. A little bit of damage. Peter Yan controlled the pace of the fight. Anytime Sean O'Malley had any type of moment in the fight, Peter Yan shut it down by countering it immediately. It wasn't like he traded and got off and then Peter Yan come back and traded and got off on him. It was always immediate, like, oh, I hit you? Ow, fuck. I got hit right back.
Yeah, just like when he got rocked, and then, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, Sean O'Malley's pressuring him, you know, peppering up a little bit.
Yeah, but-
and then boom,
Boom!
left hook, bam, right
Drops
back to it, drops him
And that
down.
was
and
the
that was
worst
the whole
fucking-
fight.
That was the worst rock than O'Malley hit him with.
So what?
He was
so
in
what?
more
So
trouble.
what happened? If everybody sees it this way, what
It was
happened? Even
Fight Island, UFC.
Flashy pressure a little bit. You know, I guess they didn't respect his counter attacks. They obviously didn't take into account his wrestling whatsoever or his ability to control the fight as a whole. I mean,
maybe-
that's a fucking travesty that they don't allow that to be a significant part.
The emotion
because
of the
it
crowd,
fucking
maybe.
should.
The
Yeah.
emotion of the crowd.
That too.
Dude, you got people
But
rocking the
also-
pink goddamn froze of O'Malley. You know what I'm saying? They're cheering anything he does.
But a lot of people
that takes in
were
some.
a lot of people were cheering for Jan too, though. I mean, it was loud for Jan being in the Middle East, right close to his home.
Yeah. I
shit
just
like
don't
that.
know. I just don't get it. I don't understand because
It's just one of those weird anomalies that just happens every once in a while.
yeah, it's not the first time. It's obviously happened in states in the United States with other athletic commissions. Sometimes you don't have good judges.
Yeah.
Fucking period. I mean, the judging pool in Iowa is pretty good and pretty deep, but like you don't know. I mean, how many fucking judges, certified judges, are in Abu Dhabi? Right? I mean, we don't know, but I think there's been countless times where I'm sitting there watching a fight and I'm like, man, thank God I'm not a judge. Thank God I'm not judging this, because sometimes you can't help but think like you're going to be subjective on certain things. You're looking at something differently than the other judge is, and there's no clear cut judging criteria.
Yeah.
Not
it's
clear
all
cut.
subjective.
Yeah.
You know? And you know, if that's what they're gonna go off of and they're gonna say it's all subjective, then have fucking 8 judges.
Right.
Fuck it. You know, because then you're gonna get a broader span of these people that are thinking different things.
Not even 8.
So-
give an odd number, so
Yeah,
that way
7.
it can never
Or
fucking
5.
be in there.
5 or 7.
Totally.
You know?
Before we jump to the next fight, I want to say this, is that Sean O'Malley didn't fight anybody in the top 10. Now he's ranked number 1 in the fucking
saw
power
that.
rankings of that.
I saw
What in the that right
Off
there?
a razor thin split decision that's
Yeah.
incredibly debatable.
That lets you know right there. Them rankings do not mean.
Kind of, but that division is kind of.
I've been to him, Josh.
That is kind of old. That
Come to a
division is kind of old.
training.
Josh, wait a minute. He showed up with a robo arm.
He's got a RoboCop.
Nobody's training with
He's
Josh.
a Cowboys fan.
If Josh nobody that's fighting on an upcoming card is allowed to train with Josh. He came with a robo arm. He had to back out of reffing.
Ooh, that's a good question. Who was Rob Moore, Jengling or Jan? Jengling fought who a couple months ago? Who'd he fight? Plum.
Oh, that kind of training, much better. Yeah, Josh, come to one of their trainings.
Referee training. Or judge training.
You get free tickets to AFC.
Justin Fields is going to see God. You don't even know what that means.
I just had YouTube pop up.
Rodriguez. Oh, yeah, Daniel Rodriguez. Remember he got robbed against Daniel Rodriguez a couple months ago?
Let's go to see God.
Yeah, but I'm gonna still say Jan.
Jan got robbed more. I don't know.
Say Jan.
Oh, that was
That's
a
a
robbery of
close
the
one.
year. That was the biggest robbery
I
of
don't
the
know,
year.
man. Jan
What,
won this
Jengling
fucking
and
fight.
Rodriguez?
Yeah.
I'm
Fucking
probably getting my own.
I would say
emotions in
I
there.
think Jengling got robbed more than.
Let's
That
go
was
to Aljamain.
pathetic.
We're done with
Yeah,
this
all right,
O'Malley
Aljamain
cat.
All
Sterling.
Let's go.
Now, Plum, fuck you.
We know.
Nobody,
He was hurt.
nobody knew that TJ Dillashaw was hurt when they fucking placed their bets on him. I would have fucking bet on him 100 times over.
I did.
But, dude,
Who'd you
I'll
bet?
tell you what.
Jay.
Aljamain looked good.
Is it
he
because
is
we're
a
still
fucking
doubting him?
full-blown backpack.
Are we still doubting?
Maybe, but I don't think so. I don't think he beat Jan the second time, and he definitely didn't beat him the first time. He was getting his ass whooped. And
100%.
and if Jan is losing fights to Sean O'Malley, that's fucking no. He ain't the real fucking deal. If Jan's beating Aljamain like that and getting robbed against him, and then he turns around and gets robbed by
a
So
great
O'Malley.
what? I mean, there's really not much to say about this fight. I don't think
There's
because
not.
TJ obviously bamboozled all of us.
Yeah.
He
was
fucking
gone after
he
5
had-
seconds of the fight.
Maybe he needs to stop doing too much goddamn lifting in that fucking garage he lifts in and start just, you know what I'm saying?
Stop doing goddamn steroids.
Yeah, he's 36 and he needs to stop fucking lifting like he's 21. You know
Relax, dude. Jeez.
But he's jacked. Hey, 36,
He's jacked.
bro.
And 30
Remember?
and-
Hey,
What I mean? Well, he can't even make it
at
to the fight.
35.
back.
So,
3.5 hours
but
in
what
the
I'm
gym.
saying is, when Aljamain goes and fights Volkanovski now,
Oh,
he's in trouble.
Oh,
he's in real life trouble.
well, I mean, but I'd like to see Sterling
Volk?
fight. I'd rather see Sterling fight
45,
O'Malley.
right?
He's going up.
Yep.
Oh, he's an idiot.
But hey,
he
he's
ain't
in
doing
so
that.
much trouble.
He ain't doing that. He's not doing that. I bet you he doesn't do that.
They've called him to the cage.
There's no.
But what do you think about Sterling and O'Malley? That's a legit fight.
No.
Yeah, no, that's a super legit.
Makachev called fucking.
Oh fuck! You're right.
Yeah,
my bad,
Makachev called.
my bad.
What's his name in the cage?
Jeez, that just
Now
went
let's do
hard.
Sterling and O'Malley. No, because I mean he doesn't get a title shot, right?
Huh?
O'Malley doesn't get a title shot now, does he?
No, I don't think he does.
Well, if he's ranked number 1.
So fucking.
But
what?
stylistically, that's a better fight. Like
stylistically, I
because
think O'Malley gets fucking dogged.
Oh,
Against
I don't know about that.
Aljamain whoops.
I don't know
O'Malley.
about whoops.
Whoops him.
I think he backpacks him like he's done in his fucking last fight and against Dillashaw and
I'd like to see it. I'd like to see that more.
If Jan was taking him down, Aljamain's gonna take him down and backpack him something serious. Yeah. He's gonna zip him up.
Yep, human fucking wet blanket.
I don't know. I'm not sold on that.
He's like, oh,
I'm not
shit.
sold on that.
Cheeto Vera, I think, is a bad matchup, Josh. I think Vera gets wrecked again by Vera. What? O'Malley gets wrecked by Vera. I don't know. I'm not convinced that Vera was really doing that well against O'Malley before O'Malley fucked his leg up and like his leg went numb and he got
no, but that
TKO'd
was a Cheeto that I don't think is the Cheeto of now.
I mean, Cheeto does fuck people up, but Triple C, I did hear about Triple C and Aljamain maybe.
Whatever. I mean, if O'Malley's number 1 contender, they're giving him the shot next. And
Shannon said chug for 5, Mike.
Aljamain is gonna do business to him. I don't think O'Malley has any threat to Aljamain. Aljamain's gonna go in there and he's going to literally just use his wrestling.
Yeah, he's gonna backpack him.
And he's gonna take him down.
Does this
easy,
count?
And then that's what I think is gonna happen. Mm-hmm. Period.
Pat Miletich versus Matt Hughes back in the day. Who wins?
Matt Hughes.
That's Jeffrey Wilson.
Jesus Christ, go to that.
Well, back then the wrestling was
Matt
so
Hughes
ridiculous.
was a way stronger wrestler, and man, I don't know. Pat was a pretty good wrestler.
Pat was
and
meaner.
Matt Hughes was already gone before I started at Miletich, so I never watched them go at it with each other. But
Pat was meaner. Pat was meaner in the cage, more aggressive.
Pat was pretty passive in the cage, though.
I mean, when he got
He
to
didn't
like
stay super busy.
when it got to like the up against the cage and the dirty boxing. I mean,
why is Jeffrey trying to start this? Right
I know
now?
he is trying to.
we
He is
ain't
trying to
made
be a little devil's.
We haven't
advocate.
even made it to the main event yet. Why are you trying to do this right now?
Who? Wow, face that Frankie, of course.
Let's get to the main event.
Why you got to put Pat against Matt?
Let's get to the main event at 280.
Shannon said that'll work.
Bet.
Get after it. Don't fucking rope us into this. He didn't say shit about us.
hold on, these are just holding up the phone. All right, main event time.
My bad, boys. All right, Makachev and your boy Charles Oliveira.
I'm 100% disappointed.
They're taking
I
over
am
the
pretty
world.
disappointed too.
Taking over the world,
I'm not 100% surprised. I'm actually not surprised really at all.
No.
But I am disappointed that Charles Oliveira looked as bad as he did.
Did he look as bad as he did, or was he just super fucking outclassed, man?
Well,
like
no.
That's the thing, because I've talked about Charles Oliveira before. Like, sometimes he shows up to the Charles Oliveira that's an absolute world champion, that's a savage, that beats the shit out of people that he shouldn't. And then he shows up and gets punched in the face and covers his face and falls down like he did against Alan Cerrone.
Yep.
But that same Oliveira you're talking about right now is the same Oliveira that I seen that in my opinion I have seen in the pre-face weigh-offs and everything. Like, the dude was looking like a demon half the time in all the videos. He went to the backstage and said, "I'm gonna kill this man," and he had that look on his face like he had me believe it. I was ready. If I had fucking hair, I was gonna fucking dye the shit blonde with him and fucking get to rocking with him. You know what I mean? And the next thing you know, he goes out there and looks like he's not the champion that we seen.
He was terrified to throw punches. He was terrified to do anything. he got to the ground and locked his guard up. Like,
immediately.
Like he was a fucking master lock.
Immediately.
Like, he did not want any part of the ground game at all.
Yeah.
And that's crazy to me because you got guys like Dustin Poirier that are super well-rounded and good on the ground, has a lot of submission wins, that did the same thing against Charles Oliveira that Oliveira was doing against Makhachev. Just locking him up and playing so defensive, begging for it to just get stood up or something. You know, like, he was looking for a way out on the ground where he has been so dominant his last couple fights.
So then that gets back to saying what everybody's been saying, that the quitter in Oliveira that was back when he was young will come out again. Once you got that quit in you and they see it, it will come out again. And did it come out again? Because he didn't even get hit flush, really. I mean, he got hit, but it was more in the cheek than anything, and he went down straight to his back, and it was all she wrote.
What happened in his last 2 fights, most specifically, when he got dropped? He come back and fucking won. And looked tough.
But you could tell he was ready he wanted to win, you know what I mean? This one, he stayed down.
Matt's asking about him and Covington. Covington gets wrecked.
No. I disagree.
What?
I disagree.
Oh, hard and money?
Do I need to...
Chimaev made, what's his name? Burns made Chimaev look super regular.
Do I need to bring the
Burns
fake hunters
is
out
not
again?
that fucking good, dude.
And let it rain? 'Cause
Maybe.
I'm raining it on Kobe
I don't think-
all day.
Wow.
You're what? You're raining on Colby?
I said, do I need to bring the fake hunters
You
and let
guys
it rain
are
out
out of your
again on
minds.
Kobe? Because
Yeah.
goddamn it, we are. Cheers to that.
Cheers to that.
I'm gonna cheers by my fucking self.
Fine. We'll be over here. We'll be over
Colby
here winning money.
Covington gets dominated in that
No
fight.
way.
Yeah.
No fucking
Sign
way.
it right now. We'll go back. We'll see how this ages.
Okay, that
Mike,
being said,
this
that being said, what do you think if Chimaev fights Usman?
Let's not get to that. This goes back on everything you said.
Might be a little boring, but it'll be technically a great fight. That's my opinion. What do you think?
I think Covington stays so busy that he beats Chimaev. And
On the feet.
Covington's wrestling is great.
This goes back to everything he said. He
It's
agreed
great.
with me with on fighting contenders and who's and who hasn't.
Okay. No, but I believe that. I believe who you have fought kind of dictates when you fight somebody that's actually ranked or legit. I'm a big believer in that. But, man, I think Covington gets wrecked in that fight. Just outclassed completely. Maybe not on the feet, but it won't be long. It won't be long.
He couldn't even get outclassed by the fucking champion Usman, who is dominant.
Was.
Yeah.
Even in that fight, he was dominant. Even in that,
yeah.
20
No,
fights,
you're
like,
right. You're right. No, I'm a sucker for the underdogs too, like you guys are sometimes. And
like, he hasn't fought a strong wrestler, a fucking Division I wrestler, a Division I All-American. He hasn't fought anybody like that. I got it right here. Kevin Holland, Gilbert Burns, Jack Hermanson, who's a wrestler but not a fucking Division I
Jack
All-American
Hermanson?
wrestler. Yeah. Jengaleg, he's not a fucking wrestler. Gerald Mearshart, no. He knocked him out in about 14 seconds, 17. Right, Reese McKee.
These people don't even deserve to be named.
Don't even know who they are, dude.
Go to Kobe. We're about to name some hitters.
Well,
for
I
you.
know. I'm not.
We're gonna
taking
name some
anything away.
hitters for him.
I'm not saying he's not a stud. I just stylistically, I think he gets dominated.
How
It doesn't mean I hope
there's no domination.
it doesn't mean I hope
No
it.
way.
I just think that I think he does.
Masvidal, Usman,
Robbie
Woodley,
Lawler,
Usman,
Tyron
Robbie,
Woodley.
Dos Anjos, Damian Maya.
Demian Maia, one of the fucking most offensively dominant grapplers in the fucking UFC
these
ever.
guys
That
and-
was
and
fucking
you know, I got
5 years,
mad
6 years ago.
I got mad love for Robbie.
Actually, that was 5 years ago exactly.
Put
day
us
after
on the
tomorrow.
that
screen for
chunk
the
you're
people.
showing,
do that?
that chunk you're
Put this on
showing.
the screen for the people.
Bam! Look at this.
Look at this. Compared to Chimaev. If you think Chimaev's
Look,
going to win,
it's
you're
the
building.
who's who
You're
of the
living
top
into this
level.
hype,
No,
man.
it's the who's who has been.
No, because when it was it's the who's has been in 2022, not in 17 and 18 and 19 and 20.
Woodley,
Masvidal, come on.
and like Maya. Fuck, man, it's like how many guys that should be retired can I beat?
What do you mean?
If anybody was building up a guy off of the matchups, yeah, their names, they're household names, but they're household names from a decade ago.
I might not even fucking. I might not even bet the sports book for this fight if it happens. I'm just gonna bet Mike.
Do it. I'm taking the odds though.
With odds
I'm
as
taking the
well.
fucking odds. That's hilarious.
Even still, they were still great. Whereas Chimaev, let's pull this up.
Give him time. Give him
Whereas
time.
He's fought the who's who that
fought
has
the
been.
fight the
He's fought the
dog.
who's nobody. Like who the fook is fucking Kevin Holland,
Dude.
Gilbert Burns? No.
What's all those canceled bouts? Is that COVID? No.
Leon Edwards, all three of them.
Give it time. You'll see.
Leon's been in a lot of fucking canceled bouts in his career. All right, so we
lot
can't
of
even
great.
give him the fucking credit of a champion.
Like who the fuck? You can't even say this guy's name. You can't even say his name.
Who is that?
Rise McGee. Get the fook out of here.
He sells cars.
What the
now.
hell does that even say? Ms. Wandali Hawanglawa.
Hey, Paul Martinez, you watch this back. I'm going to need you to edit this portion of this podcast.
Yeah,
I need
because
you to
he's
add
already
it-
changing his mind.
Add it to the one after they fight.
This is the first time we haven't had a three-way argument of all ways. It's just two
you
against
guys are
one here.
fucking. You're guaranteeing the shit. You're gonna have everybody betting on it.
That's my Christmas money.
I already
Happened
got
before.
plum.
I was gonna say.
Plum
Yeah,
convinced.
I was gonna say. See, you're gonna do it again,
I just
Plum.
fucked
You're
him
gonna do it
last
again.
week.
You didn't learn your lesson
Hey,
on fucking.
maybe he won't come in injured though. That's bullshit.
That is kind of bullshit. Actually,
Hey, and you know what? His shoulder was fucking visibly incredibly fucked.
what do
up.
you do
TJ's
though? What do you do?
yeah.
You're not gonna back out, but then
And that's the sad part.
the
I was
ripple
talking
effects,
to Alina about
man,
this
like-
the other day, man. Like, it's been a while since he's fought, and he's like, I don't want to wait another year to fight.
Yeah.
He probably can't, dude. He
No,
probably
he's
can't
done.
afford. He probably can't afford, like, literally, with money, he probably can't afford to wait another year to fight again.
I fucking
Well,
hope
because
that's
he
not the
started his own
case.
businesses. He got his own business.
No, that's
yeah, but
good.
I mean,
That's-
when you got money tied into it, that doesn't mean you're always getting money back.
well, that's what I
out,
mean.
you
That's what I
know?
mean.
Like,
He's fucked.
he needs money, bro.
God,
mean,
I hope not. I hope not. I've always said, side note, that if you make it to the UFC, it's not your fucking end game. It's not your end game. If you make it to the UFC, you
haven't made
use
it.
that celebrity to do something else with it, whether it's
Yeah.
TV, a business, a gym.
But the thing
Don't
about-
don't think that's the end game, man. You only have so many fights in you and so much money. Yeah,
The
I've
thing
always
about
said
TJ,
that.
he's been such a dick to so many other people that he's kind of.
And he's on steroids.
No, not even that. But he's
I'm
just.
just talking shit.
He's just been a
I'm
dick
just
to so
talking
many
shit.
people
He's on
that
boosters or something.
he's kind of fucked himself in that realm. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like, he's been a dick to the UFC. He's been a dick to fucking fighters in the UFC. He's been a dick to people besides his close circle.
Yeah.
To where, besides his businesses, he ain't branching out from this. He ain't gonna be a commentary fucking. He ain't gonna be a color commentator. You know what I mean? He ain't gonna be nothing.
Good point. Yeah, but anyways, so we better wrap it up because you know how we do. What we did,
we know we've been in it for an hour and a half.
So
Well, it ain't bad as our last show. That was 2 hours. And
that was a
45 minutes.
breakdown. That was a 2-night break. Hey, wait till we break down 3
That's
nights.
because Mike wouldn't shut the fuck up.
I get excited about the matchup. So
I don't blame you.
So March. We'll leave it with March, right? 5 months. I'm gonna do some fucking damage in 5 months. That's a fact. Last 3-nighter. I
Fucking
really
go Cowboys. Shut up, Franklin.
no. I'll
Sees
take
my-
those
'cause
passes
he sees
away,
my-
Frankie.
He sees my Bears shit on. That's why.
So
Oh yeah, they're playing next week.
let me ask you guys this
Sunday.
now, okay? I'm gonna ask you a
Hey,
super,
much love to you, Jeff.
You gotta be super honest with me, brutally honest, okay?
Oh fuck! Are we doing this live then?
Yeah,
All right.
live. They don't know. They don't know what's happening. As a fan and as a fighter, what is fucking sucking or lacking or needs mad improvement with the promotion? What do we need to add, change, upgrade, or elevate in March to make it a better experience? Because that's always my goal.
Damn, that's a good question.
Yeah. You need to hire a new fucking cameraman.
No.
Just kidding. Paul Martinez
just
is
kidding,
the
bro.
best. We kid.
If we're gonna be,
Why you put us on the spot?
I know
to think
that's what
about
I'm saying.
something
I'm like,
that?
I mean,
Because it's not about hurting feelings.
I like the fucking.
I'm not afraid to hurt your feelings.
One thing
I
with
just
me
don't
is
know
I
how
like.
He's not.
I
He's
like.
not.
I
don't know
I
how
like
to.
the straight walk out to the cage, but I want to get more of a vibe with the crowd, kind of. So I kind of like it when people like. We're in the crowd, you know what I'm saying, walking out. But even if it's not in the crowd, it's like more of a distant walkout. You know what I'm saying? I don't know.
I mean, I'll start that shit at First Street by the river. Right? You
I
start
mean,
walking out at First Street.
That'd be tough to make the walkout longer.
Yeah, I know.
That's what you're
yeah.
talking about. Make the walkout longer.
Not even longer, but just like the crowd's below you, so I'm waving, but I want to be in the crowd. You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying.
Can't do that. I love the elevation.
I like the
Yeah,
elevation
the
is good.
elevation
The
is
elevation
also a
is
big
great.
thing.
It's a big thing because
So-
it puts the lights with it.
So I sit down with when we sit down with Paul and pay-per-view guys and everybody. It's always like this. Well, I want this, and they're like, "But does that sell more tickets?" I'm like, well, if you're at a point where
Stop. Jeff made a big point here. I think we bring back Jeff Wilson.
No, oh boy.
We bring back Jeff Wilson.
Oh, Fireball and Live. Fireball and Live. I talked to Jeff for like 30 minutes the other day. I love everybody on the team, man. I love everybody that supports Caged Aggression. There's just different levels to different jobs. A football team has so many legs of a team that if that one leg of the team isn't really good, it can fuck up the team. It can fuck up the whole team. That's how I feel. Like, we have so many moving parts. It's like a football team. There's so many guys out there that if you fuck up, man, if you're not on point or if you're not the best on your game, then it shows. And I think that everybody that's currently on the team is fantastic, but I think that Jeffrey brings an element that gets me real excited when he talks about fights.
Me too.
And so I'm with you there. I'm not gonna get into all that because sometimes I don't have control. Just because it's my baby doesn't mean I have control of everything. But at the end of the day, like here's what I want. I want, like, what's really cool about it is Kim and I are super busy. We're super fucking boring. We never have date nights. We never get out. We can't even go have dinner with couples. And we get out like 5 times a year, and it's 5 after parties. No shit. So like, for me, it's like, what's cool is that we've got kind of a family, man. We've got a Caged Aggression family. When everybody gets back together, it's a fucking blast. So to me, it's like, it's cool because I like go on this little vacation with everybody for the weekend. And then there's this big gap where I don't see anybody like that. So to me, like, I want everybody on the team, everybody in the crowd, even the fighters, win or lose, I want everybody to have a great experience.
Yeah.
So that's why I asked that question is, what can we add or change or whatever to elevate the experience? Because I don't want it to ever just be fights.
Honestly, I don't know what we can add to it. Like, you put us on the spot with it. So it's like, fuck, I don't know. Let me sit down for a minute and
cool.
think about it.
Cool.
You know, there's one thing, and I just thought about this. I was trying to think of something, at least something to give to you on the show. I'll tell you, when I fought for WEC, and when I was with fighters that fought in the UFC, and now this individual, he works for Bellator, I believe, but Burt Watson. Have you ever heard of Burt Watson? Yeah. Burt Watson is a huge personality.
He was like the motivator.
He was like the guy who coordinated everything during a fight night. So when it was your time to go, or it was 30 minutes for me to go, he'd come in the room and be like, "You on, baby? You on? Let's go. 30 minutes, 30 minutes, you're on." So he'd come back there and hype you up a little bit. And I mean, it wasn't his job to hype you up. That was just who he was as an individual. But he quarterbacked everything that happened in the event.
He was the life behind the curtain.
Guy, he was that one guy behind the curtain that facilitated everything. When you were on deck, you're on deck. You know, you're on deck, baby. Let's go. You're on deck. Yep. Get ready. We live in 5, baby. He'd come get you, walk you down the stairs, get you ready. He's fucking screaming, "We rolling! Let's go! We roll into the hole, baby!" Just fucking getting you jacked. And he didn't have a super special job in the UFC, but he fucking made it a spectacle for you in the back.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, he was just insane back there. And if you had a guy that was like the dedicated individual,
because there are many people that come back
go,
there that don't fucking.
Yeah, like,
just
hey,
like, hey, you're up, man.
It's like another
ready?
fighter,
Are
like,
you ready?
hey, that fight just ended. You're on next.
Yeah.
If there was one dedicated,
that'd be
specific
great.
guy
That
that
is
was
great,
in the back that fucking was out there motivating, it was just a big personality, it'd be hard to find around here and at a local level. But a guy that could do something like that and facilitate everything in the back. Hey, do you got water? Do you got this? We got this here for you. We got the water here for you. Go to the bathroom before you go. You're on deck. You're in the hole. You're up next. You're ready. Get to your spot. Your music's coming on. Everything. Like, that guy that quarterbacked everything in the back, that would be super cool.
Yeah.
It'd be tough to find a special individual like Bert,
Yeah.
but Bert played a super vital role in all the Zuffa promotions or like the UFCs and shit like that. That was like something like nothing else.
Kind of invaluable because, like, I can only imagine right before you come out or you're waiting all night for your fight, you know, and then there's this guy that's just fucking juicing you up right before you walk in. I remember him, man. That's a great,
awesome.
great, great idea.
A lot of the guys that fucking I know from fighting back in the day, including
you know who
Zach
would do
and
it well?
everybody.
Jordan Trowers.
Yeah.
That would be that guy, dude.
Like Zach and all these guys that I know from fighting back in the day, like that was one thing that you wanted to hear that you knew you made it. You know what I mean? That was, boom, we made it. He fucking is. Let's go. We rolling, ball.
We rolling.
I'd see videos and I would just imagine myself in the back, like, fuck, man, I want to hear that one day. You know what I mean? So if like you can get that on a local level, holy fuck, dude, you're setting yourself to the bar. There's that much over something that little.
Yeah.
Making you feel worthy.
Just one of them really small, like, just one of them tiny little things that makes it that much better.
Well, sometimes it's the little things that make such an impact. Like,
for sure.
Like, for example, you don't show up to a show and they give you a sweaty, torn pair of gloves to fucking put on to a fight in.
Use
that the
these
guy
gloves
before
again.
you just fought in. Like, granted, it might cost me like $700 every show to provide new gloves, but that's a fucking big deal to me, man.
Yeah.
Like, then you take them home. Your kids get to put them on. You take them to the gym. And you know how many gyms I've been to that have countless gloves in the gym? They train with them and stuff like that. Like, well, but that goes back to the appreciation thing. You know, I don't know how many times I've seen weigh-ins that don't got a fucking plate of food for guys.
Yeah.
Like, wait a minute, man. That's just shit. Like, you just cut all that weight. I mean, it may not be the best. It may not be the best meal per se, like what you really need in terms of that, but like something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And little things like that are very, very important to me. So to help motivate, I'm gonna take that, man. That's huge.
Little fighter packages too. Little bag, T-shirt, a couple
koozie.
towels.
A fucking koozie.
T-shirt, couple towels, couple waters,
Yep.
a koozie.
See, now I'm
What
gonna go
else
home
did we
all
do?
excited as shit tonight.
Like
fucking
super small stuff. That little
Yeah.
stuff makes a difference.
Yeah.
You know how many people went fucking
Posters,
crazy
you know,
over
like-
the fucking keychain you gave out a couple fights ago, dude? People were rocking them keychains. They were like, hey, keychain.
The little glove.
I didn't
Yeah,
get
the little
I was
glove
like,
and
you
shit.
know what I'm saying? I showed up and
That
I
shit
was like,
makes a difference.
dude, I
That's
showed up
something.
literally and I'm like, you know what I'm saying? I've kind of been here before. I was feeling myself, you know what I mean? I'm like, hold on, man. Where the fuck you guys get these keychains at? Where the fuck's my keychain?
Yeah.
You know?
No,
That's
I love
kind
it.
of how I
love
felt.
it. I love it.
Yeah, it's small things like that do make a little bit of
No,
a difference.
that's why I ask, man. That's awesome. Well, I'm gonna do everything I can, obviously within some form of budget that we never stick to elevate the show. I know my team's gonna. I've already been talking to Tom and Paul and Justin and these guys. Literally a week after the show. That never happens. I fucking usually disappear for a couple weeks. They feel that energy from me. Like, we're excited. It's gonna be our last 3-night event. Does that mean someday I won't do something stupid and do a 4-nighter? No, but I do want to stick to 2 nights.
Right.
Just across the board, it makes sense. But I want to do one final 3-nighter, and I want to do it as big as possible. So I guess we'll leave it with that, man. Like, just stay tuned. We're gonna fucking do everything we can to make it the best show ever. And Culture Shock Barbershop. Oh,
Yeah,
by
you
the
can't
way,
see it.
Thomas Blackerby, and Joey Reyes. That fight was another one of those where, although the fight, the night as a whole was amazing, and the fans by far got their money's worth because I haven't raised the prices. But that is one fight that was going to be magic. When I talked to Joey about Thomas getting injured, and shout out to him, man, these guys and his dad, they did everything. They had chiropractors, and they had a suit on him, and they were doing everything they can to show up on fight night. It couldn't happen based on his injury. The kid's got a massive future ahead of him.
Oh, yeah.
So, when you're injured like that, you got to protect your future. But long story short, that fight right there, when I called Joey, he's like, I want to reschedule. I want that fight. I don't want you to fill it real quick and take this thing home. One of these guys is going to take that belt home. That's why we have it here. But that fight will be rescheduled for March, along with a gang of many other awesome fights. So, but Culture Shock Barbershop, for letting us do it here. Mind Print Productions are the man. Fellas, what do you think?
Before I let Zach give all the shout-outs, because he's the main plug of this whole fucking thing, I just want to say, man, for 2 weeks ago, the weekend was amazing. The UFC fights last weekend is amazing to cover with you guys. And literally, for you guys that don't know, tomorrow actually is our for real 1 year anniversary of starting this fucking show. I can remember when we went to fucking lunch dinner when we talked about doing this, and we all sat there and we're like, let's fucking do it at Tangled Wood. Had some beers, had some drinks, had some laughs, and then the next thing you know, we were here October, 27th, and now it's October 26th. We are 1 year in, and I just want to tell you guys, I seriously mean this from the fucking bottom of my heart. This was one of the best decisions I think we could have made, and I've had fun every single episode with you guys. And Zach, me and you have been friends for a while. Mike, I've known you for a long time, and I love you guys with all my fucking heart. And thank you all for tuning in for a whole fucking year with us, and it's been amazing. Thank you all.
Yeah, for sure. It really means a lot for everybody to come and watch us do what we love to do. It was kind of a crazy idea for us to do this shit. We're like, oh, look, I'm a has-been. It's a promoter and a has-been, a will-be, and a promoter all get inside a room. What's gonna happen? Or what was it? It was like a fight promoter, a fighter, and a barber. Walk into a room.
A fighter, a promoter, and a fireman walk into a room or something like that.
It's like, this is what it's become. We're 12 episodes in, so that averages up to about an episode a month. We all have lives, and some of us are busier than others. But we try to do whatever we can to get in here as often as we can, and we'll do a better job of it. And we're always striving to be a little bit better. We've spent a lot of money on equipment. And Paul from Mind Print Productions, I know he's already mentioned it, but Paul from Mind Print Productions, he helps us a shit ton. And we are forever thankful for Paul, for what he does for us. Even Justin Lin, he comes in here and he's had to scrape up our scraps in here and collect his shit for other jobs that they have to do, because I'm either at work or too busy to do it. So for all those guys that help us out and allow us to do this, we thank you. Everybody that tunes in. Jeff Wilson, I mean, you're on the page every single time, commenting multiple times. Ryan Plum, Matt White, Shannon Sulfur, the McNeils. I mean,
Jacob Horton that don't have Facebook anymore. That motherfucker is
loser down. Frankie Ochoa got the all access passes last time. Seriously, we wouldn't be here 364 days later if it wasn't for guys like you. I mean, we were up to like 31 viewers today, which seems ridiculously low and sad. But that's a huge deal to us, and we thank you guys for watching. For whoever tunes into this later in the week, or whenever they do. Thanks so much for watching. I hope our content is worth the watch and worth the wait. I know our podcasts are long, and when we first started this, we were like, we're not going over 45 minutes. Tops.
We said 45 minutes.
We don't even get fucking started until 45 minutes now. Like, I mean, into the meat and potatoes of everything. Like we thank you so much. We're forever grateful. Brandon Scott at Culture Shock Barbershop. He's also got his podcast. He hasn't done one in a while, but I know he's been meaning to get back in here, be on the chair. So we just thank you guys so much.
Yeah,
And,
all the replays, like you can replay it, YouTube.
yeah, we're actually live on YouTube right now as well. So if you got friends that aren't on Facebook, we're live on YouTube right now, and you'll be able to watch it on YouTube as well afterwards.
And stay tuned, because there is rumor about this big podcast network where there's one network where there's
shit.
all different kinds of podcasts. It's like the umbrella of all these badass podcasts, and we've been invited to be a part of that. So stay tuned, man. We're going to keep this thing going. Ties into our daily lives and their careers and cage aggression and everything. So thank you all.